I want to start off this video with a story about myself. Around a year ago, I laid off of martial arts for a while simply because I didn't have access to a facility where I could train, right? So I got more into the gym because I had that facility, and that's great, right? But you see, having trained martial arts for around, a few months at that time, right? I started getting into the routine of, okay, I train, I get better, awesome. I had trained previously for around 3 years in the gym. And I had made big changes to my physique, right? Then, that summer came last year, and I started training more only in the gym. I got a lot bigger, I must say. I got a whole lot bigger and a whole lot more immobile, right? I could not move. Problem, right? Then now, looking back, I obviously realized, there's a lot more value in being mobile and being flexible and being able to do stuff, right? So, for me to really get into the title of this video, right, which is being big is useless unless you can't use it, right? The whole point of being big the whole point of training, should not be that you look like you train, right? It would be that you're capable, that, you can do stuff, you're athletic. But no, the usual approach to lifting and what the fitness industry is trying to push is simply very aesthetic, very, let's say, superficial, right? So looking impressive, right, is obviously valuable to some degree, but there's a point where adding more muscle simply does not do anything extra for you, right? It just makes you a whole lot tighter and a whole lot more, immobile. You can't, let's say, just keep chasing bigger arms, bigger chest, bigger delts, all that jazz, without becoming a lot more capable either, right? You can't do both. Although there's a caveat that I will get to later. You see, the abilities that your physique should allow you to do is not just purely aesthetic. It would be, can you run fast? You should ask yourself these questions. Can you run fast? Can you jump high? Can you move well? Can you carry heavy stuff? Is there, can you have good relative strength? Can you actually feel athletic? Do you, that's much more satisfying than being just a form of fit. Why do I say this? Because you see, all these facts I just listed, all these points I just listed are necessarily markers for your athleticism, right? Does your strength translate into an everyday task? Does it? Think about it, does it? Can you carry heavy stuff for a prolonged amount of time? No. Why? Because you've only ever trained in the gym in that setting, right? You've only ever trained with metal plates. So there's a difference between, being strong and looking strong. And I see this all the time on social media. It's a would you rather most of the time. Would you rather look strong or actually be strong, but you don't really look strong? Many people, surprisingly, to my surprise, choose looking strong. I'm so confused. I'm just, why? Why would you ever want to just look strong as opposed to actually being strong, right? But you see, many people still choose looking strong as opposed to actually being strong. Why? Because this is what the fitness industry is trying to push down your throat, to actually look good instead of actually being capable. And I feel like this is a lot more alarming than it sounds, because see, actually having the skill to do a certain task, right? Certain task can be, I don't know, climbing up a wall, jumping high, running, right? Because many people can't run. Many big people cannot run for their life. If their life depended on it, they can't run. They cannot do a 100-meter dash. So you have to just weigh out your, what it is you want. And obviously, there's a very big difference between the two. A huge physique suggests strength, right? But size isn't the same as performance, right? And I say this as a martial artist that has been training for around 2 years now. I promise you, when I was bigger, I would not be able to do the stuff I can do now. And I purely say this from experience. That summer that I came back to martial arts, now fine, whatever you may say. I mean, you've had a whole year now to train your martial art. So obviously you're better now than you were before. Sure, okay. But you see, I feel like I have drastically improved because I dropped some weight, because I dropped some size. And additionally, because I'm a lot more mobile, I'm a lot more capable, I can do more things, my body moves differently. I don't move so blocky anymore, right? In my respective martial art, which is jiu-jitsu, I actually feel so much more athletic. I feel like I don't gas out as fast. I move a lot smoother, cleaner. I move more liquid, more fluid, right? And you see, I feel so much more athletic, so much more. Now, is there a way to measure athleticism? Yes, there is. Can you run? Can you jog for a prolonged amount of time without actually gassing out and, start panting and start before you start hyperventilating? Can you do that for a prolonged amount of time? I can. I've noticed that I can, and it's crazy. Dropping weight simply allowed me, right, to maximize my cardio. Obviously, I've been training it, but I'm not really a runner. I was never a fan. Although, they make us run in jiu-jitsu. And I've noticed a drastic change between me last summer and me now. I say this why? Because at the time when they would make us run, I would sweat bullets. I would be panting, I would be heaving, I would just be, I can't, this is hard. This is really, this is a task, right? And you see, once you start gaining weight just purely to add more muscle, it doesn't really benefit you in any additional way, right? And I'm trying to hammer this in your head. And I've said this before, because you see, sacrificing speed, mobility, endurance, and relative strength for a number on the scale is not really the major takeaway that you should be aiming for, right? There's a nice analogy in Dragon Ball, right? I don't know. If you're a viewer of mine who, has seen Dragon Ball, you might understand. At some point, I forgot where, in Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta and Goku go and ascend from Super Saiyan to an enhanced Super Saiyan. What does that mean? It's not Super Saiyan 2. It's enhanced Super Saiyan. So what does that mean for the respective Saiyan? It means that they get bigger and stronger, right? Although they soon realize they are a lot slower as well. And their speed is impaired and their mobility is impaired, and then they get their face wiped on the floor. Why? Because you see, being bigger and stronger doesn't necessarily translate to I'm capable. I'm a lot stronger. Yeah, sure, you can be stronger physically. You have more strength. Although, you see, many people mistake this for actually, they mistake size for being strong, capable, dangerous, right? No, fine, whatever. You may have that one big guy that's dude, but if I punch, like if I hit you with, if I just get one good blow on you, you're dead. You're dead. You're finished. That's great and all, man. That is a great. I love it when big buff guys, big gym guys tell me this, because you see, they don't realize that my senses are sharper. I move faster. So in the time that they take to cock back their wrist, and they probably do it with bad form anyway, because in boxing you don't really cock back your wrist like this. You don't cock back your arm and just do that. I mean, that's, first of all, you have horrible form. Second of all, in the time that it takes you to do all that, I've already gone behind you, taken your back, and then I'm choking the fuck out of you, and you don't even notice. With the blink of an eye, I'm able to do this, and I guarantee you, they do not see this coming. You see, the fitness industry has a very weird incentive, right? Because bodybuilding is extremely visual. You can sell a program based on someone's biceps being 2 centimeters bigger. But it's also harder to sell becoming ridiculously good at moving your own body, because that doesn't sell. That just doesn't, it's not as alluring, it's not as sexy as being bigger, being stronger, being more attractive, right? So naturally, the industry pushes what is easiest to show and monetize, right? And this is where you fall into the goy trap, the appearance, right? Just the appearance. But you see, I'm not saying that being muscular is bad, not at all, actually. Bodybuilding is an extremely visual sport, right? And you can look great and be athletic at the same time. You just have to choose, actually. No, sorry, my mistake. You don't have to choose between being athletic and being good looking, right? I say this because, having done it myself, when I was maximizing size, the entire objective was to get bigger, but not necessarily to get stronger. I was moving the same amount of weight. If anything, I'm moving more weight now, which is funny, because I may not look like it, right? I'm just some guy in a polo. I may not look like it, but I can move twice as much weight as I could last summer. And it's crazy, right? If anything, I'm moving a bit more. So you see, if you're a bodybuilder, fair enough. That's your career. There's a reason to do it. Although, if you're just trying to get bigger for the sake of getting bigger, that's not the best version of you. The best version of you doesn't sacrifice capability just to become 10% bigger, right? So an athletic physique is, I would say, the sweet spot, right? What is an athletic physique? Muscular enough that, you see, you move fluidly and cleanly and clearly look like you train, right? And you're lean enough to move and you don't hold as much weight and inflammation. Your body just looks good because it is good and you're capable of doing things, right? And you're fast, you're mobile, you're coordinated. So instead of thinking, okay, how do I make my body look better, right? You should frame it more as, what do I want my body to be capable of, right? So, the goal of your body isn't to be a decoration, right? It's the thing that you experience throughout your entire life, right? So what's the point of building an attractive physique if you can't put it to good use? What's the point of building an incredible looking physique if you're always gonna be less than capable of, putting it into, a martial art, something, a job, right? So the main takeaway that you should, focus on from this video is, don't optimize your body for how it looks. Optimize it more for what it allows you to do, right? That's it. That's all. Thank you.